It's my pleasure now to introduce our keynote speaker. You know, when you're looking for a keynote speaker in a function like this, you really want to try to capture the theme. And obviously our theme is the Dulux difference. And I could tell you that, you know, this gentleman, as soon as I talked to him on the phone, asked him a few questions, he talked about our business. It was amazing. We just had this real connection. And I think you'll find that during the course of his presentation. Let me just give you some information on him. Michele Falcon is an entrepreneur, and he's an international keynote speaker who leverages customer experience, employee engagement, and company culture strategies to grow businesses. He's been hired by multi-million and billion-dollar companies across dozens of industries to improve their customer experience and employee engagement, and has traveled to countries like Canada, US, Israel, Austria, Australia, Nigeria, Germany, just to name a few. Michele has worked with and has spoken to many companies, and companies like Nike, Alfa Romeo, Electronic Arts, and many others. Now, Michele is an entrepreneur himself. He's a partner in a hospitality company based here in Toronto that owns and operates large-scale restaurants that earn more than 8 figures a year in revenue, and he has over 100 employees. So it is my pleasure to announce to everybody and to introduce Michele Falcon. All right, buddy, you take it away.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction, Vince. Really appreciate it. Good morning, everybody. That was a week. Good morning. That was, you know, I expected something different. So this is how we're going to do it. I've got a lot of energy, a ton, and I've got some content and education to share with you, but I need you guys to match my energy. That's the only way that this is going to be successful for both of us. So when I say good morning again, I need you to bring that energy. I need you to say good morning back loudly. I think you were the only person that said good morning back, so thank you. You must be Canadian. There you go. So say good morning back. Make some noise, shake the person next to you. I don't care what you do. Just make some noise, because I want everybody in this building to recognize that we're doing something different down here. So with that being said, good morning. There you go. So that's how you start a keynote. Thank you very much for your time. I'll see you guys later. I've come to talk to you about customer experience. And Vince had introduced me very well. One can't live without the other. You need customer experience, you need employee engagement, and you need a culture that both parties can collaborate and thrive within. During our time together, I am going to share how you build a customer-centric team. I have over 100 employees. I've worked with companies that have thousands of employees. So I have some strategies that I can share with you. I would never share anything that isn't tried, tested, and true. I don't have enough confidence to be able to stand in front of the stage and give you theories. I want to give you actionable strategies so that when you go back to your workplace, you're able to execute on them. I'm going to share what I believe the return on investment is when it comes to customer experience. I'm going to share 4 strategies that you literally could start building next week that will resonate for decades. Then I'm going to bring it all the way to the finish line, and we're going to do some Q&A. So if you have any questions that come to mind as I'm speaking, please jot them down, write it down, put it in your phone. I don't want you to forget. We've got about 10 or 15 minutes for Q&A. I'm going to be hanging out here after as well, too. So if you happen to think of a question after the keynote, just approach me, and I want to be able to answer your questions. My email address will be shown on the last slide, so feel free to email me after this event. I realized I don't have a clicker. It's on the podium. Fantastic. Thank you. I know only a couple of you know who I am, and I really think it is just kind of Monica and a couple of the individuals that I've spoken to on the phone. So please allow me the first few moments of this keynote to share my backstory. And the reason that I share this with you is to build context and some rapport so that you know that, you know what, this guy is doing it, and perhaps I could replicate these strategies and do it for myself as well too, and for my business. How many people know of the company called 1-800-GOT-JUNK? Yeah, blue trucks driving around. I started my career there in my early 20s. I was a call center agent. I know what it's like to answer the phone 100 times a day and have what I call, in my company, service endurance. Delivering the same level of service to the 100th customer of the day as you do the first. It can be done. It's tiring, believe me. And having my name, Michele, is a little complicated when you speak to a customer in Florida and you spend the first 3 minutes convincing her, yes, a man can be named Michele. I had probably one of the longest average handle times in the call center for that reason alone. So kind of a pain point. So I spent 6 years there. It was there that I learned that you can grow $100 million, billion-dollar companies by leveraging customer experience. In the second year, I transitioned out of the call center into the operations management side of the company. So where we were building strategies like customer-centric training material, our complaint resolution system was managed there, our net promoter score. So I've seen it being built and executed and managed. At the 6th year, I ventured off on my own to start what I thought was going to be the largest customer experience management advisory firm in the world. So preparing for this growth, I actually called my company Falcon Consulting Group. Truth be told, there was no group. It didn't grow larger than me, my dog, and my parents' kitchen table. So really humble beginnings. And it's call it what it is, a bit embarrassing when you're at your parents' kitchen table and you're taking sales calls trying to convert customers and your dog starts barking in the background and you're having to be like, oh, it's bring your dog to work day here at Falcon Consulting Group. So that was kind of embarrassing. But the company started getting bigger, Verizon Wireless, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Electronic Arts. And it dawned on me that, you know what, people are getting it, right? This was about 5 years ago. People are getting it regardless of your industry. If you have a customer, they expect an experience regardless of whether you're B2B or B2C, or even not-for-profit. 2 years ago, I ventured out of consulting because I was lonely. I missed having a team. Consulting was great. I traveled many different cities. The pay was good. It was great to help other companies build it, but I wanted to get back to building it on my own. I wanted to be a part of a culture again. So I moved to Toronto 2 years ago to join my partners to start a hospitality company. So we own restaurants in Toronto, 8-figure businesses, over 100 employees, and we leverage customer experience to create a difference in our industry. Our industry, as you can imagine, hospitality is fiercely competitive. We literally, at 485 King Street, which is our flagship location, 16,000 square feet, 4 floors, 100 employees, did over $10 million a year in our first year of operations. We have a competitor literally across the street from us, to the left and to the right. So how are we making a difference? It's by something that I refer to as the people-first culture. It's an honest commitment from leaders to put their employees and customers at the core of their decision-making. This is how we are creating differentiation in a very competitive industry. I also have collaborated with a dentist and have dental practices here in Toronto as well too. I don't do the clinical work, never graduated. I'm just the customer experience guy behind this to be able to create a difference in dentistry now. If I can pull this off, and I don't know, I'm going to have many scars. Maybe in a couple years, if I'm speaking at your next event, I'll tell you how it goes, but that's my next challenge. For some reason, I like to make my life very difficult, and I don't know if dentistry, if I'm going to come out alive, but we'll see. My vision is to build people-first cultures where we can honestly say that we have the systems and processes to better the lives of our customers and employees to create a difference in fiercely competitive industries. Now, I've been at this for 10 years, and I know one thing. Could we get the slide deck back up? I know one thing very well. We don't even know what customer experience is sometimes. To be able to create alignment within an organization, you must understand at scale what this is. You must have the luxury to go back to your stores and ask any employee at any given time, what does customer experience mean? And they should be able to recite it. Maybe it's this definition, maybe it's something that's unique to Dulux. But how can you improve something when there isn't alignment behind what it is? So in my organizations, customer experience is the sum of all interactions that your customers experience when doing business with you from beginning to end. That's what customer experience is. Whether it's online or offline, it comes together to create an entire experience from beginning to end. Who has been to the movie theaters within the last 3 months? Raise your hand. Fantastic. Do you mind role-playing with me for a moment? Are we good? Can we get a microphone? I know I chose right in the middle. I didn't make it very easy for the microphone runners, but thank you so much. What I'm going to ask you to do is I would like you to walk me through the experience that you went through to watch that movie at that theater. From the moment you recognized or realized, I want to watch a movie at a theater, what happened next and after that? So walk us through that journey. There's no right or wrong answers.
Remember now.
So let me help you. Perhaps the first thing is you're like, I want to watch a movie, but what time is it at? What movie? What location? So you started there, right? So there was an awareness.
So we're in Canada, so it's winter. So I'm thinking, okay, I need to get something fun to do.
Okay.
And I thought it's snowing, so what about if I just walk across the street where I have the Cineplex.
Okay.
And right there, I think I was looking for convenience.
Okay.
I walk under the path, so I didn't have to go outside, so even more convenient.
Okay.
It was a Saturday evening rather, and afternoon. So I thought there's not going to be a crowd, so I can enjoy and make sure that I will get, the movie that I want.
Were you wrong? Was there a crowd?
No.
No? Okay.
It was good. So it was good. It worked out. And
so you had to buy your ticket, right?
yes.
So did you buy your ticket in the movie theater, or did you buy it before at home, online?
No, actually I bought it at the booth.
Okay, so that's one interaction.
Yes.
What happened next? So you got your ticket.
Yeah, then I
happens
walked towards the entrance, and there was another interaction with someone who welcomed me and said,
There's another interaction. Great.
So informed me where my gate was,
Okay.
or not my gate, but my
The
my,
theaters, yeah.
the theater, and that's pretty much what's about it. But it just make it simple.
Okay, so with customer experience, it's a combination of macro and micro interactions. The macro interaction in the movie theater, and I want you to think about your industry and your customer journey. What are those macro interactions? In the movie theater, it might be buying your popcorn. That's an interaction. That's a major one. Watching the movie is a big interaction as well too. But the micro interactions is where you got to win. I believe the micro interactions is where you can create differentiation in your industry, because that's not where your customers are playing. Or your competitors are playing. Beat them there. So what's a micro interaction in the movie theater? Imagine if she had driven her car and there was a parking lot owned by the movie theater, and it was littered in trash, and that trash had the company's logo on it. That's a micro interaction, but could hold a lot of weight, which could ruin the entire customer experience and overshadow the macro interactions. Customer journey mapping is a very, very popular tool for forward-thinking companies that want to build a great customer experience. You have to map out the macro and the micro interactions. And where I win in my business is those little interactions. We're going to compete on the macro, but we're going to win on the micro. That's what customer experience is. It's hard. Training your team members just to smile and say thank you more is an element of the customer experience. The reason that this is so difficult for companies of all sizes across all industries is because how are we supposed to reinvent something or refine it if we're not viewing the customer experience behind the same lens? Your responsibility as leaders of the organization is to get everyone aligned behind what customer experience is. And a sign that you have alignment is being able to go back to your business and say, what does customer experience mean? And have people being able to recite it like that. It's almost cult-like without the negative stigma to it, right? You want people aligning behind this vision. Now, I like smiling customers. I like delivering a great experience and seeing them say that I love your company. But you can't pay the bills with smiles and I love yous. Part of the reason why I committed my career to customer experience is because of this slide. 55% of consumers are willing to pay more for a better customer experience. We're in the premium space. You know, if you were to visit my restaurants, we have premium wine, premium food, right? I understand, and I've been briefed, that you have some competitors trying to earn market share from you and are undercutting your pricing. Be careful with the price game. Because a customer that's willing to go for the lowest price isn't a loyal customer. They're just going to leave you, or your competitor even, if they win on price, to the next competitor that inevitably comes into the market with a cheaper price. It devalues your service and your product and yourself as a professional if your knee-jerk reaction is to match pricing or undercut your own pricing. Before you even think of doing that, give justice to your product and your service. Stand proud. Explain why you have your pricing. Talk to them about your customer experience. Tell them it's predictable and consistent, something that they can rely on. Remove yourself as professionals for a moment. Put on your consumer shoes for a moment. When you've gone for the cheaper price, whether that's a hotel or a flight or a restaurant, I'm going to lead to believe that you bought yourself a headache. That's what happens when you do business with companies that are willing to go for bottom of the barrel. Unless you're Amazon, somehow they're able to pull that off. But be very careful with how you present your pricing. Never quote a price until you've established value first. And there's no greater way to establishing value than by leveraging your customer experience. So what are some other elements of the return on investment of customer experience? Consumer confidence. Do your customers trust you? If they do, you are in a very advantageous position to sell them anything. In my world, we've earned trust with our customers at our flagship location. So when we open up the next venue and the one after that, or the dental practice after that, if they know that that venue, or in your case, that new product is a Dulux product or a venue of mine, there's confidence because you earned it the first time around. And then you have the opportunity to sell them other services, other products. How do you think Amazon became Amazon? In 1997, Amazon was operating out of a garage in Seattle, Washington. They sold us books for years and years and years. And while they were doing that, they were earning our trust. Trust for years. And then eventually they said, okay, I wonder if these customers would buy a blender from us as well too. We bought the blender. I wonder if they would also buy a spatula to complement that blender. We bought the spatula. That's organic growth. And that was earned by consumer confidence. You earn that confidence through having a predictable customer experience. Employee engagement is another return on investment of customer experience. Why? I believe that a company fully committed to their customer experience will also experience higher employee engagement. Because your customers are literally going to tell them, I love doing business with your company. And that's just going to release endorphins. What is the opposite? I hate doing business with your company. I'm leaving. Your company sucks. That's not nice to hear day over day. And the last, brand admiration. What do you want your customers, current and prospective, to think and feel when they see your logo? You want them to think, I trust that brand. You want them to feel, that you're a partner of theirs and you're going to help make their lives easier, not harder? Do you really want them wondering, I wonder what color blue they used in that logo? Matter of fact, I know more companies that spend more time refining their logo than actually building their customer experience strategies. It's preposterous. What do you want your customers to think and feel when they see your brand? Now, I know one thing very well and it's based on experience. You cannot have a world-class customer experience if you do not have a customer-centric team. It can't happen. When I was doing a lot of consulting, the conversation would start like this: Michele, help us with our customer experience. Okay, but I spent the first few months sometimes working on the internal experience. How do they recruit? How do they interview? And how do they onboard customer-centric professionals? It takes a certain DNA to be able to have service endurance and deliver that same experience every single day. Not everyone can do it. And you need to stop the individuals that aren't customer-centric from joining your organization, or else it's always going to be an uphill battle, and I've seen it time and time again. Who is going to be recruiting an individual for their team in the next 3 months? Raise your hand. Fantastic. Can I role play with you? Again, I'm so sorry that I've done this right in the middle. So I promise not to do it again. I want to ask you, so you're going to be recruiting a position within the organization. The job description, when you're ready to recruit, what are you going to do with it? What are some of the first things that you're going to do to advertise the role that you're recruiting for?
Well, I'd say that it's important to demonstrate what's in it for the employee.
Okay.
You know, coming into that role, they need to know that they'll be well supported, that there'll be an opportunity for improvement and growth, and that they can rely on the people who are bringing them into that business to recognize those strengths.
Okay. And how are you going to get resumes? What are some things you're going to do?
A couple of different ways. Word of mouth often is very strong. We have really good internal candidates, so if you know somebody, recommend them. Online services, even our painters business, we deal with contractors all the time. They always know somebody who would make an excellent candidate in the role, so ask.
Perfect. Internal versus external recruiting. A players also hang out with other A players. Before you go external, take that job description and email it to everyone within your store or within your department and say, Billy, Allison, Samantha, think, who do you know that fits this role? Send us some referrals. Go to your best customers. Ask them as well too. Your vendors. I understand you had some vendors here. Dickies, Frog Tape, and some others. They live within the industry as well too. Go to your vendors and hint, 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 your vendors are trying to appease you. You're their customer. They will go above and beyond for you to be able to recruit your next great candidate. When I'm looking for a chef de cuisine, which is the number 2 in the kitchen, below the executive chef, I'm taking that job description and I'm going to my meat supplier. He or she are living in restaurants every single day. They know candidates. A players hang out with other A players. So internal versus external recruiting. I'm not saying don't look external, but I'm just saying put a lot of emphasis on the internal part. I take a lot of pride in making my interview process very, very difficult. It's 7 steps. Whether you're a GM or a dishwasher, I'm taking you through a ringer because I'm trying to get you to say uncle and tap out and say, this is too difficult for me. I'm just going to go to work for the company that hires me on the spot. Because I know that I need to focus on employee retention from the very beginning. There are about 10 or 12 questions that I coach my general managers to ask to identify whether this individual that they're speaking to is customer-centric or not, regardless of the position. whether it's customer facing or not, whether it's an engineer, a customer service person, a marketer, a salesperson, everyone must be cut from this same cloth, whether they speak to customers on a daily basis or not. So one of the questions that I ask is, what is the temperature of the sun? And it's not a Google-like question. The reason I'm asking this question is to understand how do they respond to a question they do not know the answer to. How many times as consumers have we gone and done business with a company and asked a frontline employee a question about a service or a product, and they're like, I don't know. And then they look at you blankly. I'm like, all right, so this is where it ends, I guess. How does that candidate respond to a question that they don't have the answer to? If the candidate says, I don't know, but I'm going to find out for you, carry on with the interview. If they email you later that day or the very next morning and says, Michele, thank you so much for the opportunity to interview with your company. I really hope I can join your organization. By the way, the answer to your question is X. Thank you very much. I would highly consider hiring that individual because they have customer-centric traits that they are already exemplifying, because that is how they're going to manage an interaction with your customer when they are asked a question that they don't have the answer to. My second question that I ask, amongst others, is what is an indulgence? And I want you to all think about this because I'm going to ask two people to role play here with me. What is an indulgence that you cannot live without that costs less than $20? I want you to think about that for 15 seconds, and I'm going to ask two people to role play with me. What is an indulgence that you cannot live without that costs less than $20? So I'm going to go over here, and if I could get a runner to kind of meet me halfway. Anybody willing to play with me? No, you lost your voice? Good. You came prepared to avoid audience interaction. Gentleman right here, could you help me? What is an indulgence you cannot live without that costs less than $20? Your boss might be here, so let's keep it legal. Good coffee. What type of coffee? Dark roast, medium, blonde roast? Dark roast. Any particular brand? My interviews aren't easy. Dark roast, coffee. What brand? What brand comes to mind? If you could have one last cup of coffee. Starbucks dark roast. Fantastic. Okay? Keep that in mind. I'm going to go over here. So what is an indulgence that you can't live without that costs less than $20? Netflix. Fantastic. How long have you been a subscriber of Netflix? 9 years. 9 years? Fantastic. Could I ask you a question? If they doubled their pricing tomorrow, would you still stay with them? Yes, actually. So let's say that these two gentlemen join my organization. The way that I'm going to onboard them is on their first day at our hostess stand or at the front desk of the dental practice is a handwritten card from the company with my signature on it saying, welcome to the team, and then you're going to have a case of dark roast Starbucks coffee waiting for you, and you're going to have something that complements Netflix. Because I already know you have a subscription, so I'm going to have something that complements. Maybe it's a nice throw blanket, so if when you're cuddling up on your couch, you have something, or a nice pillow, or a gift certificate to 7-Eleven. I'm thinking on the fly right now. But something to complement his indulgence. Why do I do this? I'm asking them to give themselves to my customers. I better be prepared to give myself to them. We cannot have the audacity to tell our employees, take care of our customers, and then we don't even take care of them. They secure our livelihoods more than we secure our own livelihoods. I have a team of over 100 employees that make me successful. I'm nothing without them. Zero, nothing. So I need to make sure that I'm providing that internal experience. If I'm able to nail that on onboarding. Say that again?
I really like you.
You like me? Thank you. Thank you. This is really good for my confidence. Thank you. It's only going to get worse from here. Maybe I should leave. if you're that really threw me off. If you're able to the next sentence was so impactful. I had it recited. The timing's good. If you're able to engage your team on day one before they go into training, their engagement is up. Their knowledge retention will go up in training, which means that on day one, when they come out of training, their productivity is going to be higher. You want people to sell better? You want people to service better? Get them on day one. I'm in the business of making my employees cry. I swear. Like, good tears. I want to make you cry. Sean's one of my team members. He's right there. Like, I'm in the business of making him cry. He's too macho to say that he's cried, but I'll get him. I'm also in the business of owning the dinner table. That's what I say. I want to own your dinner table. Because I want to do stuff that pulls at your heartstrings so much that you're going to go home and talk to your spouse or your best friend and be like, I work for a different company, and tell that story. You think my employees are going to quit on me? Like, yeah, I've had some people quit, of course. Every company doesn't have 100% retention, but I want to make them feel so guilty quitting on me because I've done these things for them, right? And it's not selfish, it's just business, right? You got to do things that are different than your competition. Remember the micro stuff I was telling you about? That onboarding tactic? Rip that off. Start using it. Or do some sort of variation like that. Win down here. Your competitors are focused up here. You got to win right here. Our competitors, whether it's paint or steaks or wine or tooth extractions, could copy. That's a very weird combination, by the way. Can copy what we do. So how are we going to differentiate? And one of the differentiation points is time. We're not in the transactional business, you and I. We have the luxury of time. For the sales representatives in the room, how long do you have the attention of your contractor for? 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes perhaps? For the store managers in the room, that interior designer, how long do you have their attention for? 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes? We're not Tim Hortons, where the cashier literally has 30 seconds to build rapport. We have to embrace time to create an experience that our customers have never seen before. That's how you're going to create a difference. That is how you're going to win. So make sure that every single one of your team members knows to leverage the time that they have. I'm not asking them to have a picnic and a 3-hour lunch with the customer each and every time, but recognize that we're not in the transactional space. We have the luxury of time to build rapport and honest relationships with our customers. Autonomy. If you hire correctly, you have the ability to give your team members autonomy to create experiences that are going to make a difference and are going to be experiences that your customers have never seen before. In June of last summer, a table of 4 ladies joined us at our flagship location, Barrow on King Street here in downtown Toronto. A well-trained and customer-centric professional of ours named Yasmin, a server, attended to the table and learned that the reason that these ladies were here celebration is one of our core values at Barrow. We want to celebrate our guests and we want to celebrate each other as team members. Yasmin, by way of conversation, learned that the reason that the ladies were here celebrating was because one of them just announced a recent pregnancy. So they were here to celebrate. Yasmin, leveraging what I call customer intelligence or customer insights, whatever you want to call it, leverage customer intelligence to deliver an experience that these guests have never seen before. So with this information, Yasmin runs over to the hostess stand. The hostess says, how can we create this experience for this guest? I have a table at 41. One of the ladies just announced her pregnancy to their friends. Hostess runs over to Shoppers Drug Mart across the street, buys a $25 gift certificate to Toys R Us. And for the cynics in the room, I understand Toys R Us is out of the business now, but hopefully they used that gift certificate before they did. Hostess comes back, takes the gift certificate, puts it in the billfold with this handwritten card. happy birthday, congratulations on your new family member. Love, the Barrow Familia. This is an experience this customer has never seen before. We leveraged customer intelligence and leveraged our customer-centric team to create a difference. We didn't just put in the handwritten card. The handwritten card's of value too, but how can we continue to win and take it to the next level? We're able to do this because we give our team members autonomy. What is the return on investment of this gesture? That customer will always consider Barrow when she wants to go out for an evening. Those ladies at the table are also going to consider us. Organic growth is defined by repeat customers and referral marketing. These ladies, I'm going to guess, told 10 people about that interaction because we did something that was different than every single restaurant that surrounds us on King Street or in the city of Toronto. We also got 2 5-star reviews on Facebook and on Google. That matters in our world. Think of the ROI that we received by having a customer-centric team and $25. I love winning down here. It's so neglected. Think about your business and the interactions that you're having with your customers today. How can you win down here? You cannot deliver service to the exact same customer, to all customers the exact same way. In our business, we have 3 customer personality types that we've defined. There's the director style personality type. They appreciate shorter conversations and efficiency. Don't talk to them about the local sports team, they don't care. There's the socializer personality. Talk to them about their dog Scruffy, even if you don't care. That's my mother. Like, I would really hate to deliver service to my mother because, like, she'll go on for 30 minutes about something completely off topic, and you're like, I gotta sell something. I'm growing a beard here. But the socializer personality, be very careful. You gotta entertain them, but you gotta keep them on track. Then there's the passive. Have you ever asked somebody, how's your day going? And they're like, good. And you're like, all right, I guess I don't care, or matter. That's the passive, right? But careful with the passive personality type because they may be fronting, right? They may actually be a socializer or director, but because they've been burned in the industry before, they don't trust you. They don't trust anybody, right? So be very careful with the passive. We have something called the 10-second rule. Within 10 seconds, we've trained our team members after saying hello. Try to identify that personality type because that's who you have to become. You can't talk to the director style personality type about the local sports team. They want efficiency. They want to be in and out. They prefer the transactional relationship, and that's fine, right? That's their definition of success. Who are we to define success for our customers? We have to create personalized experience. So when you go back to your organization, you go back to your cities, remember, we got to coach our team members that we cannot deliver service the exact same way to every single customer. Because something that makes one customer tick might tick the next customer off. I'm going to take you to Atlanta, Georgia. Warby Parker, my favorite company right now. They sold me these glasses. 7 years ago, they weren't in business. They didn't even exist. Today, they're a multi-billion-dollar company taking on an organization called Luxottica. Luxottica is the Italian manufacturer of Oakley's, Ray-Ban, Hugo Boss sunglasses. Warby Parker is coming after their competition, and they're starting to win because of things like this. We have done our team members a grand disservice by telling them to listen to your customers, listen to your customers, listen to your customers. For decades, we've been saying that. I don't coach my team members to listen to my customers. I coach them on how to listen and take action to create an experience that your customers have never seen before. A customer in Atlanta, Georgia orders a pair of glasses online from Warby Parker. She goes to the nearest location in a neighborhood called Bucktown or Buckhead. Asks the employee, can I please pick up my glasses? The employee, recognizing this customer isn't having a good day. Maybe it was her tone of voice, maybe it was her body language. And asks, how's your day going? The customer says, not good. I got my car stolen last night. I could really use a beer. But I'm here, I'm excited to get my glasses. The employee did what we train every employee to do, show empathy, and then help the customer. 2 days later, the customer gets this in the mail, a handwritten card that says, "Hey, Tess, we're so sorry to hear about your car. Since you probably won't be the designated driver anytime soon, here's a round on us. Love your friends at Warby Parker. P.S. Your Duran frames look amazing." And within that envelope and that handwritten card is a $25 gift certificate to a local microbrewery so that customer could get that beer that she said she needed in passing. She said it in passing. But this employee, who's clearly customer-centric and clearly trained and has autonomy to deliver experiences that customers have never seen before, created a difference with this customer. Now, what is the ROI of it? Customer loyalty, referrals. But get this. This customer went online and went on Reddit. Reddit.com gets tens of millions of views per month, and told this story. A lot of people upvoted it and commented on it. So now tens of thousands of people recognize Warby Parker's brand. The next time they see the brand and the logo, they're going to think of this story. HuffingtonPost.com, Mashable.com, and BusinessInsider.com collectively get tens of millions of unique views on their websites picked up this story. Do you know how much you would have to pay to get in those 3 publications? Tens of thousands of dollars. They were able to do it by having a customer-centric team, autonomy, and $25. That's where we got to be winning. That is where we have to start creating a difference. Play up here, but also play down here. How many people in the audience have an iPhone? Okay, fantastic. How many people on the phone have a Samsung? Okay. Sir, you had raised your hand because you have an iPhone. Do you mind if I could ask you why, if I could get a runner, why did you select an iPhone as your phone? And please don't say the company gave it to me. Because why would one want an iPhone? How about that?
It's super easy to use, right?
Okay.
You can usually work out instantly how to do something. It's not complicated.
Okay. Have you ever had to go get it fixed or needed service to help it run better or whatever the case might be?
Not really.
Okay. Have you ever been to an Apple store?
Yep.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Samsung users, you had mentioned, want to double time role play? Yeah? Okay. Samsung. Why Samsung?
Honestly, I wanted to try something different. I'd had iPhone for a really long time.
Okay.
And it was a Titanic. It was amazing. I didn't have to replace it for years. It got to the point where I actually just had to retire it on its own terms. And I thought that I would give another company a chance.
Okay.
And honestly, so far I haven't been very happy with that choice.
Perfect. Samsung and Apple products, very similar in quality. Some may actually say that Samsung has the better product than Apple, and this gentleman has seen both. What is undeniable is I have never heard anybody say, "Ooh, you got to buy a Samsung Galaxy because their retail customer experience is amazing." I've never heard that. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but I've never heard anybody pound their chest and say Samsung has an amazing customer experience. The opposite is I've had many people tell me that Apple's customer experience is amazing. The media says it as well too. Similar products. One is better at customer experience. They're both billion-dollar organizations, but one is clearly the market leader and the other one is following. That's differentiation. That's how I do in my business as well too. I have competitors all around me. I don't undercut my pricing. I sell a steak for $130. My competitor has a very similar steak, maybe even a better steak. They charge $90. I'm not going to reduce my pricing because I know I have our customer experience to justify the cost of doing business. It allows me to be able to charge whatever we want. Your competitors can copy your products, They can mimic the way that you market. But the number one thing that you own, the one thing that's unique to you, is the experience you deliver to your customers. You own that. From this day forward, customer experience has to be your differentiating point. It has to be everything that you pound your chest. It has to be everything that you advocate. From this day forward, you must build alignment within the organization behind the customer experience. From this day forward, you're going to use customer experience to beat your competition and continue to earn market share. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Michele Falcon, and I use customer experience to build businesses. I wish you guys nothing but success. Thank you so much for your time. Anybody know where I put my water? Oh, okay, fantastic. So I did that little spin, by the way. It wasn't a dramatic ending. Thank you, guys. I really, really appreciate it. For the individuals that had prepared me for this, you guys gave me a lot of information. Thank you. Look, I don't know your industry like you guys do, but I do know customer behavior, regardless of industry: telecom, healthcare, dentistry, restaurant, hospitality. Many of the practices that work for these other industries will work for you too. R&D doesn't have to stand for research and development. I was taught when I was 21 years old, R&D stands for rip off and duplicate. So just go study other companies. Warby Parker, I'm obsessed with them. I'm going to New York to go sit down with their founders of their company to ask them questions. Because I was like, I need some more ideas. Like, you never know where your next great strategy is going to come from. So my recommendation is pick 3 companies that you admire as consumers for their customer experience and learn. Read things on them, about them online. Go on LinkedIn and find some of their employees in your city and reach out to them and say, hey, can we chat for 15 minutes? I love what you guys are doing. Can we learn from you? You'd be surprised how responsive people will be. So I want to go into Q&A. I love Q&A because you can ask me questions, and I have no idea what you guys are going to ask me, so you know that the answers are real and authentic. So we got the runners on both sides, so if you have a question, please throw your hand up, and let's get some questions answered for you. Got one right here. The gentleman right there that you've seen a couple times. What's your name, man? Sorry.
My name is Ben.
Ben?
Yeah.
Nice to meet you, man.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry, I'm hoping not taking up too much time.
No,
here.
it's okay. It kind of feels like forget everybody, right?
Extra close. That's it. There was a few times where you unofficially mentioned promoters.
Promoters.
Exactly. And I, like you, came from a call center environment. Promoters and detractors and passives were a huge element of that business. Yep. At a store's local level, I think it's always going to be important to measure promoters and how we're doing on that front. And at some point, we'll want a financial investment. From our marketing team yesterday, they discussed that we will now be responding to Google reviews. Okay. I know our team in Calgary, we've been asking for Google reviews to be reviewed constantly because it's important. That's the internet's the way she's going. So my question for you would be, at a local level, before a financial investment, what would you find, or what would you say is the easiest way for me to measure my promoter experience with my team?
Yeah, so are you trying to understand what a promoter actually means from an economic perspective?
Not necessarily. So in other businesses, you know, we've had scores given to us that don't have anything to do with the sales numbers going up or down. I worked for Good Life Fitness where we had ballot boxes at the front of the store where you could, you know, stick your comment in. Just at a local level, as I said, what is the easiest way for me to actually measure if our promoter score is going up?
Got it. And are you guys currently using that promoter score, or are you guys using something similar at all?
Not that I'm
there's
aware
no metric?
of.
Okay.
But
So I understand your question now. Thank you. It's as simple as this. How often are you staying in touch with your customers? Are you only there receiving, waiting for the next order? That's not fostering relationships. Don't be so tied down with what is my score? What is my metric, right? And I appreciate the online reviews, absolutely. But this is not a transactional business. What I would do if I were you with your team members is I would have our customer list. And regardless of whether we've gone above and beyond or have maybe fallen short, continuously reach out to them. Maybe if it makes sense in a B2B perspective on a monthly basis, maybe on a, every couple months. You don't want to over-index, you don't want to over-survey, but just reach out. Just, how are we doing? 8 words, single sentence. How are we doing? How can I make your life easier? Do you have any feedback for us? Like, I wouldn't be so concentrated on the mechanism. How are we going to do this? As is, why aren't we doing this today with the resources that we have? Right? We survey our customers using Net Promoter Score via text message, but on top of that, we do something called, and this is a gesture, we do customer videos. So every Tuesday between 10 a.m. and 11 a.m., me and my management team we have our head hostess give us some customer names that have upcoming reservations, and we sit in front of a camera. And we say, hey, Joey, thank you so much. I understand you got a reservation coming up this Friday. You're celebrating your wife Diana's birthday. Thank you for choosing us. Can't wait to see you. I got my team standing by. Like, we're building that one-to-one relationship, right? With all due respect, you know who your customer is, right? In the B2B space, you know who you have to appease. You're in an advantageous position. You know who you have to service. In my world, we have 15,000 customers that come in to borrow every single month. It's hard, right? So don't go one-to-many, go one-to-one. Maybe it's what's that? One more call. There you go, right? Whether it's video, email, phone call, keep that relationship and dialogue going. Okay, cool. Other question? One right here, yes?
For the store managers in the room
Yes.
that are constantly under recruiting, because our turnover is relatively significant, could you put a little bit more meat on the bone of your psychology in looking for customer-centric people and perhaps around the questions that you ask?
100%. So I have a lot of frontline employees, and you're referring to the front lines that has the high turnover. Okay, my industry is known for that too, right? Hospitality is known as a transient industry. You got, your aspiring actors and students using it as a springboard to something else, right? So I feel you. You got to make that interview process a little more rigorous. Like, maybe it's not 7 steps like us. Maybe it's like 3 steps, because what you got to do is try to squeeze people out. I gave you the question to understand whether they're customer-centric or not, but how reliable are they? In our worlds with high turnover, reliability and absenteeism, the reliability is low, absenteeism is high often, and that's what causes the high turnover. How reliable are these individuals? The reason why I have a 7-step interview process, and Sean has gone through it, and was it hell? Yeah, it was hell. Is because you're trying to squeeze people out, right? Are they willing to come for the second interview or speak to that next person? Because if not, they're just going to drop like flies, right? And you want that, because you want them to drop out during the interview process, because they're like, screw this. Like, I'm going to go to the place that hires me on the spot. If they're able to make it through the interview process, then they're probably going to be more reliable in the workplace. We have 2.5 times higher employee retention against the hospitality industry at Borrow. And it's largely because we have that regimented interview process. So ask key questions, right? We use something as well too called the predictive index. It's a behavioral assessment. That's step 2 in our interview process. I love it, swear by it. So look at this at all angles. There's no one size fits all. You gotta have different layers or elements to it. Does that answer your question? Yeah, great. Another question? I think we got about 7 minutes. I think there's one right in the corner over there.
Thank you. Follow up more about interviewing.
Yep.
You mentioned your 7-part process there. So I guess it's a 2-part on. Can you elaborate on the process?
Yeah, I'll share it with you guys right now.
And some more of the questions, like that question about the sun. Brilliant. I would never have thought to ask that.
Yeah, no, 100%. So first step, phone interview. I'm trying to filter out the serial killers. I'm trying to see, how do people answer their phone, right? I'm measuring how they answer their phone. Is it professional? If they don't represent themselves in a professional manner, they're not going to represent your brand. What does their voicemail sound like? Do they sound enthusiastic to hear from you? Or are they like, Dulux too? What do you do? I just emailed 20 companies. I have no idea who the hell you are, right? So I'm picking up on that. Phone screen. Second is the PI, the predictive index. Third is culture. I do not care if my candidates know how to cook a steak, make a cocktail, or wash dishes at this point. I'm just trying to figure out whether they're going to fit into the culture. So during the culture interview, I asked 2 questions per core value that we have. We have 5 core values. One of them was celebration. We asked 2 questions to identify, is this individual going to live within the core value? Core value? Are they going to live within the integrity and so forth? Then I get to skill set. Now I care if they know how to cook a steak, make a cocktail. The reason why I've backloaded the skill set is because I don't want to be enamored on their last success. Oh, wow, they worked at Aloe. Aloe's a very popular restaurant in Toronto. We should probably hire them. They worked at Aloe. But then I neglect to realize the person standing in front of me is a jerk, and they're not going to fit within our core values. As a matter of fact, I coach our general manager and our management team, don't look at their resume until the 4th step, which is the skill set. Understand what their name is and their telephone number to get them on the phone. I don't want you obsessed with the resume. Don't bring the resume to the interview until the 4th step. The 5th is the decision, or pardon me, the assignment. So we get them to do a little assignment. So for Sean's our in-house videographer. Sean had to, on the spot, what did we make you do? Yes. So we had a group interview and we gave them clips and say, make this into a video. You have 1 hour on the spot. That's the little assignment. Sean could have just walked out of the door and said, screw this place. I'm out of here. 6th step, decision. Make a decision. Have 2 people sign off on every single candidate, regardless of the role, the seniority, whether it's a dishwasher or GM, 2 sign-offs. And then lastly is the offer. Now you may be like, geez, Michele, what? That takes hours. Well, it does. But you know what takes longer? Having low retention or high retention. Or, pardon me, you know what I mean. It takes much longer when your turnover is very high. You're spending more time. Front load the work. Now, with frontline employees, hourly employees, the threat is that they're going to just hand out resumes all day that day, and they're going to go with the company that makes their first offer, right? With Sean, who's a salaried employee, that's a career for him. So I'm going to believe that he's going to exhaust the time to go through that process. He came back, I don't know how many, he came back 3 or 4 times, I think. It's even worse than I thought. And then, I think I already gassed one or something. But 5 times he came to see us. I was trying to squeeze him out. I wanted him to tap out, and we did have people tap out. At the 4th interview, at the 4th step, we had 5 candidates. Come the next step after that, we only had 3. So I'm trying to squeeze people out. Now, with frontline employees, are they going to come back 5 times? No, they're not. So condense it, right? Don't skip any steps, but just create a little hybrid version. So that's what we do with dishwashers and hostesses, is we're going to take them through the entire process, but on that first day, right then and there. Questions? Go back to your values. Try to understand 2 questions per value that you have are related to your mission. Ask yourself, what are the 5 qualities that this individual needs to have for this role? Now, maybe they need to have foresight. Maybe they need to have humility, whatever the case might be. And ask 2 questions per qualification that they need to have. Feel free to email me directly, and we can, anybody, I don't care if I get 500 emails. It'll take me a while, but I'll get to you. If I can share some interview questions. As a matter of fact, why don't I give you guys my interview questions, and you guys can share them from there. I think that would probably be the most efficient way for me to do that. I got time for one more question, guys. I will be here. I think there's a question right there. I will be here again for a little bit after the talk, so I can answer some questions after too. Monica, do you mind reminding me to get you the questions? Could you remind me to get you the questions again?
Hi, I'm John from Montreal.
Hey, John.
You mentioned before that you sell a steak at $125 versus someone else who sells it at
80, 90.
80, 90, whatever. Could you elaborate that experience?
It's designed. Design thinking is a thing right now. The way that we create and establish our pricing and have the integrity behind our pricing is because we're leveraging our experience to make price irrelevant. That's not going to happen with everybody. John DeJulius is a gentleman based out of Cleveland, Ohio that kind of does what I do, but he owns hair salons. And he said something to me one time that almost like, it was very profound. Make price secondary in the eyes of the customer. So design an experience where your customers, the majority of them wouldn't even ask you to reduce your pricing because they almost feel guilty because they know how much value you're getting. Ritz-Carlton is Ritz-Carlton because of the experience. Nike is Nike because of the experience in the product and their in-store experience or online as well too. You have to have a reason. If the customer asks you, well, why aren't you willing to reduce your pricing? Boom, 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 boom. You need to objection handle, and you need to talk about that experience and how it's going to build confidence, how it's going to make their lives easier, how there's going to be less mistakes, because you guys have the guardrails in place to make sure that you're not coloring outside the lines. How I'm able to do that in my industry, and we don't say, oh, okay, no problem. We'll give you that steak for $85. Has anybody ever successfully done that in a restaurant in North America? Right? You have your pricing, stand by it, and be prepared to back it up. But the only reason, you can't just say, well, we have a great experience. Well, why? Tell me how. Well, we're different because if you have a complaint, we're going to resolve it within one business day. My name is John. I'm going to take care of you. That's going to make your life easier. So you don't have to deal with vendors. You can go out and grow your business. Then they start equating the economics. Yeah, maybe I'm going to pay a little bit more with this company, but the likelihood that my experience is going to be great and I'm going to be successful as a consumer is higher. Make price secondary in the eyes of the customer by leveraging your customer experience. Now, there may be times where that client, you're going to shave down your pricing a little bit to secure that big client. I get that, right? We do it in the dental practices a little bit too. We'll shave our pricing down, but we're never going bottom of the barrel. We're not playing there because we know that customers that are that price sensitive aren't loyal at all. So when you go back to your business, when you go back to your team, make sure that they know that it's customer experience that's going to make price secondary in the eyes of the customer. And it's not easy as just saying that. You actually need to do it, right? I've met your management team. They've invested a lot in innovation and technology to set you guys up for success. You guys were talking about some stuff. I was like, I have no idea what this stuff is, but I'll Google it and try to figure it out. But it told me that they've invested in you guys for you to be able to have those conversations with your customers and say, our prices are priced because of blah, 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 blah. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Go out and crush it. Thank you.